welcome to the Pachyderm Podcast, Chinna Ford.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, for me, I'm from Vallejo. That's what I will say. I've been all over. Honestly, I didn't live everywhere in the Bay Area, but my home is definitely Vallejo. I have two children that I love dearly. One is 1 year old, and I have another who is 5. I also have a partner who I've been with for about 10 years, going strong, real strong, y'all. But for myself, in my spare time, I love to do my basically like knife throwing. I love to do anything, honestly. So I'm a jack of all trades, and I'll consider myself really a hobbyist. But the thing that's really near and dear to me is college snacks. And so that's something that I've started out my journey for about a year now. And I'm the owner of College Snaxx. I do it all from sending the boxes to whatever else it takes to finding the snacks and curating things. And I would say that I'm an advocate, especially within my community. Any student that needs help, I'm really big on students and high school kids. Like if you a kid and you got like a basketball team and you trying to go win for something, I will hand you my money. Like I'm not afraid to hand off that money, especially to youth, because I believe that they really, really are going to set the tone for the next few years on what they want to accomplish. So in a nutshell, I am an advocate. I am a owner, a College Snaxx owner, a business owner. And yeah, that's really what I've been doing so far right now. I actually graduated from Cal State East Bay to Whoop Whoop Pioneers. In 2012, I know that was a long time ago. I'm not going to date myself too much. But I graduated from Cal State East Bay with a degree in ethnic studies. And ever since my eyes have been open with my ethnic studies degree, I have tried my hardest to cultivate my community, make things happen with the people that surround me and build them up. So that's really me.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned that about ethnic studies. Why is ethnic studies important? I know I'm an Afro major myself, and I had family and friends tell me, or ask me better yet, what are you going to do with an Afro degree? And my reply to that was everything. Absolutely. Everything I do to this day in 2021 is directly connected to the fact in my study of my folks. So how would you, what's your thoughts on that?
I would wholeheartedly agree with you. And every time I mentioned my degree, I was met with the same question. And what I would say is, you wait and find out. Because I kept getting that too. And I was like, y'all just gonna have to watch me work then, because I don't think y'all understand who I am and what I'm here to accomplish. I think that ethnic studies is so important, especially Black history, because it is American history. And we should all know, not just African-American peoples, but everybody within America should know American history, which is African-American history. And I think we get taught way too like when we're in college, we don't get taught anything until we're in college about like our own history, which is far too late in my own experience, especially growing up in a PWI, which is a predominantly white institution. Growing up in high school and in middle school and other spaces where I was in predominantly white spaces, I think that if I had that ethnic studies, those courses back then, it would have helped me so much find out who I am as a person. It also would have helped me to understand like why it's so important that I'm going to school in the first place. Because when I tell you I hated history class with a passion in high school, and then when I got to college and I learned that I loved history, I actually loved history, it was like a complete 180 for me. And a lot of people, I don't think they really truly understand unless they've been taught, like yourself and myself, about African-American history. It's a lot of things you don't know until you know. And I think right now it's a big moment in time where people are starting to learn. Like TikTok is teaching a lot of people, TikTok University.
Right.
But I think that it's super important to understand, just to keep your roots, to understand your roots and to know where you're going from there. Because if you don't know your history, like we all know, like how can you really understand your future?
Mm-hmm. So what are your thoughts on this whole attack on critical race theory?
To me, I understand why they don't want critical race theory. I mean, they don't want it. And we all understand why. When I try to take it back to when I first took my first ethnic studies class, like my 101, and I walked out of it feeling, we all felt a lot of different feelings and different anger, confusion, just so much. And I think they're scared of that to happen at a young age. Like we're talking about, like in high school, if I'm taught all of these things, I might not be the nicest person in my next class, but I also know a lot about my own history. And I'll be able to make a little bit better decisions about what I want to do. I also think like they not ready for us to learn all about the evil things that people have done to us. Mm-hmm. And if we do have critical race theory, I think, yes, you're going to see a lot of BIPOC people that are very upset with what has happened, our own history, but they also will be making changes along the way of what's to come. And I don't think they want that either. Mm-hmm. So that's my thoughts on it. I hope that we can continue to push through. I know San Francisco is definitely on it when it comes to like ethnic studies courses and things like that. And we've all seen what it does to our college students and how it sets the tone for them. So why wouldn't we want something like that for our high school students?
Right. And what you're speaking on, someone that enlightened me to the fact. So the sitcom, Good Times, the Black sitcom, JJ, Michael, the Evans family, that originally Michael's character and his persona was supposed to have been JJ's persona, but the threat was if you make JJ the older brother, the militant, who he would have connected with watching that television show, would have been some problems. So we almost make being a militant comical by making the baby who has the least amount of power. It's almost a comical thing to make him baby Huey, basically. But they said that wasn't, it was originally, how it was originally written is that JJ, the older brother, was supposed, because it was like, right post Black Power era when this show came out, he was supposed to be a militant one. And it was like somebody somewhere was like, no, because he's going to relate with that demographic. And yeah, we can't make this and who would eventually become a lead character. And that's why you saw him eventually become the buffoon of the show. We're not gonna put that heavy burden on his shoulders. We're gonna make the baby of the family the militant one. And then even in that, he was telling me, I noticed that he went from being a militant to now he wants to become a judge. So media is powerful. I never even looked at that. As many years, I can literally almost recite every episode of Good Times by heart. I never even peeped that dynamic that was going on right before my eyes, though. He was like, yeah, Michael was originally, that character persona was supposed to be on JJ. He was supposed to have been with the whole, Michael was always protesting the school systems and the state of the government or whatever. And yeah. So
that's very that you say that too, because another thought that rings in my head is like what we already are taught, right? Mm-hmm. We're taught about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, but we're not talking about Malcolm X. Right. we don't really talk about Huey P. Newton. We don't talk about people, and that's done on purpose too. So like you said, like students will be able to have the choice on whether or not what they would take in, and civil disobedience is not necessarily what's on everyone's mind, especially right now. Mm-hmm. So yes, like just me thinking about my introduction to ethnic studies, and like that being the first thing I was taught when I was angry, like, be civil disobedience, turn the other cheek and all these other things. And I think, yeah, that's some brainwashing, definitely. And I think that if I wanted to choose to be militant, like, let me have that choice. Right. If I want to, help save my own community by my own means, let me have that choice. Let me learn that history. And I think that things have definitely been omitted on purpose because they knew exactly what was going to happen. Just like what you said with this character, what will happen. And that's naturally right. So, right, that's natural.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of saving your community, what was the inspiration for College Snaxx? And explain what is food insecurity for those that may or may not know.
Okay, so food insecurity is basically For what I like to really think about as example for college students, let's say that you are a student and you have enough money, but only to either get to campus by way of gas or transportation or eat that day. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, you have money, you have means, but now you're making choices on which one is you need and which one can be left out. And that's being food insecure. And so what I like to tell people is food security is when you don't have to make those decisions. It's okay. You are good. You can eat and you can go to class. If you want to, do it in tandem. But we wouldn't say, don't necessarily do that. Your teacher might kick you out or something. But basically, yes, food security is when someone, especially college students, have the means to eat and are not worried about anything else based on transportation or other means to live. Mm-hmm. And then, I'm sorry, what was the other question?
What was the inspiration for starting College Snaxx?
Because I was food insecure when I was in college. And I know a lot of our students are currently, I'm a college advisor and I've been doing this for about 9 years now. And when I get on the phone and I talk with my students or when I meet with them one-on-one, a lot of them end up being food insecure, especially towards the end of the school year or towards the end of the semester. And I'm sure you might know that too, just by working with a lot of students, that they tend to not budget the best. Like, hey, it's hard out here. And I think a lot of what we hear in the background is like, well, y'all getting Pell Grants and all this FAFSA and all these things. Like, so why do you need money for this? And honestly, college students sometimes poorly budget. And sometimes when it's us, especially for first generation, low income students, color, it's very serious. And so for myself, I've spent a lot of time not being able to, having to choose between the two. Like, do I go to class or do I, pay for this chicken tonight so that I can eat my food? And I just realized that I wish that no one, period, ever had to do this, but especially our college students, especially our low income students, especially our students that this is their first time going off to college. And now they're faced with being hungry. So that's why I do it. I want to make sure that if I can, everybody eating, especially if you asking me. I found myself sometimes crying myself to sleep when I was in college because I was so upset that I didn't have food for the night, for the day, but I also was like, I had this thing about getting help. I had this huge thing about like, no, you can help yourself. You're in college. You're supposed to be a young adult, right? You're supposed to handle things yourself. So I think that that's something that a lot of our college students struggle with, whether or not to even accept help or to ask for it. And I found myself sometimes being like, Mom, I'm fine. Like her calling me all the time and just being like, oh, no worries. But she would really have to come check on me or bring me like a whole bunch of different types of leftovers or food from the house. But I also didn't want to make sure she was crying, driving back home, like my baby. Right. So I didn't want that to happen. And I really don't want that to happen to any of our students. So my goal, and I know it's a huge goal, but just so that every college student, especially within California, has either some sort of like cow fresh SNAP so that they can feed themselves, or that they're getting some sort of food box or food something once a month or weekly so that they can eat.
And speaking of which, so College Snaxx this summer had a grocery giveaway. It was like every second and every fourth Friday. How was that? And go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
So yeah, we're calling it Summer Snaxx, and I was trying to get the hashtag popping Hot Scholar Summer. But pretty much we had a huge donor donate a good chunk of money to where we were able to now do 2 times a month send out grocery gift cards, and we're doing about $55 a piece for students. And if they're interested, they can either get a Walmart grocery gift card or they can get a DoorDash grocery gift card. So far, we've passed out 4 of them. And when I tell you just the dialogue I've had between the students who ended up getting them, it always makes their day. And I think it's the best because it's on a Friday. So majority of, I had no idea I was going to get something like this. I'm going to share it with my friend, or I'm going to do something. And that's what I really want. I want the power of sharing to come back. I want the power of community to come back, because while I was in college, like, we all have dorm mates and roommates, but sometimes it starts to be a dog eat dog world. Like, everybody has to take care of themselves. And in that, we stop taking care of the community. And that is the thing that hurt my heart so much when I was in college. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we not helping each other? Right. So that's the biggest thing I want to have out of this. Like, yes, I'm giving you some money, but yes, share with that friend who tagged you to get this gift card in the first place. Mm-hmm. Or share it with someone that you know needs it. So it's been great so far. Like I said, we have 4 students who have already gotten them, and it's been going strong. We end at the end of August, and then we're going to start up some other programs after that.
Now, is there an application process for this? How do students, how do they get in contact with this gift card program?
So what you can do is you can go on our Instagram, which is at College Snaxx, and it's 2 X's. If you can't, you can go on my, what do you call it? The little, oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart.
It's all good. Is it on the IG page?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram page, but if you go to my link, sorry,
okay,
my link, right? That's the lingo. So if you go to my link in our bio, it has an area where it says Summer Snaxx Giveaway, and you can press that link. You'll do a small little application, which is just asking you a few things so that I can send you that gift card if you end up getting it. Mm-hmm. I also ask a few questions of you as a part of the community piece. And I say, some of the questions are like, what would you say to a fellow, peer that is having food security challenges or even housing security challenges? Mm-hmm. And they've said so many different things to help each other that I love it. And so I post those too all the time.
Okay. And even more importantly, how can we donate to College Snaxx, or we could sponsor some students out of there? How can we make donations and build up your coffers over there?
Same link. I got 3 different ways you can do that, but definitely you can go to our link in bio, and we have a specific section where it says, it's like our PayPal link. I try to use PayPal because I know that's really easy for everyone, but you can go through that. We have a donation link, as well as our collegesnaxx.com. So if you want to, you can go on our collegesnaxx.com page, and we have a section for our community warriors, because that's what we call anyone who donates. Mm-hmm. And so our community warriors can go on that area. You can press our links to either go on PayPal or to actually manually do something on our College Snaxx, where if you would like to purchase for 3 students at a time, we have different options on what you can purchase. A big one of our things that are part of our budget that costs a lot ends up being just sending out packages, the cost of sending. So we have options for that, as well as students who apply multiple times. I have a specific area to donate for those students too, because we have a few students who sign up once a month, and they get something if they need it.
So being a student advocate, being a student advisor, being a business owner, an entrepreneur, but a family person as well, how do you juggle that? How do you juggle with your partner, your 2 children, with all of these things in the professional world? How do you maintain balance?
I use Google scheduling like nobody business. I do think that, yes, I have to be super organized in order to do half the things that I do. But I think what really drives me is the motivation behind it all, and how good I feel after I finish doing stuff for our students. But it does take me some time. I try to maximize a lot of my College Snaxx related things on the weekend. If I can, try to, if I have a whole bunch of posts, I try to schedule all of them during the weekend. If I need to send out actual big packages for a bunch of students, I try to make sure I get all those things done during that time. If I can't, I'll definitely do it later in the day. When it comes to babies, I make sure they help too. Mm-hmm. Shoot, they be in there throwing stuff in boxes too, helping out. This is a family ran.
Right. I love it.
So Aurora loves to get involved, my 5-year-old, and she definitely helps. If y'all see y'all boxes getting fixed up and y'all got y'all nice snacks, she hooked y'all up. So
shout out to Aurora.
And Zaxxas is starting to get involved too. My youngest, my 1-year-old, but even my partner, he helps a lot with just like printing out things, making sure he labels up the boxes. So I couldn't really do it without my whole family either. And then when it comes to just college advising, I do a lot of, since all of my college students are in college and the majority of the time are all across the nation, that makes it a little bit easier for me to like do one-on-ones with them and do Zoom like this or do things like that, which is a lot flexible. And I always encourage them as well to like come and get some college snack boxes and things.
And so one thing that I ask all the guests, what do you do for self-care and what brings you joy?
I practice radical self-care. And so for me, it's cool being a mom. I love being a mom, but sometimes we make that synonymous, like we don't have what would I say, components to it, because I'm more than just that. And I think that when you are labeled a mom, it's like, that's it, that's all, nothing else. And for myself, like I said, I like to throw knives. I like to do all kinds of crazy stuff. So I make sure that I plan out that stuff at least once every month for sure, especially the crazy stuff. And then just anything else that, going to hang out with friends or going to do my own personal things. I make sure that I plan that out and just have that communication with my partner to make sure like he's good, I'm good. And so I can go have some fun, but I definitely make sure I have as much fun as I can. Even with my mental health, I try to make sure that like I focus on that too. I've been going to therapy, looking into things like that, which I think we should all do, all of us.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I got to take care of myself in order to take care of everybody else anyway. So.
Well, Chinna, I thank